All right, good evening. Thank you for joining us this evening. It is now 6 o'clock. It is Monday, January 13th, 2025. This is the regular meeting of the Park District of the Grange. All right, we'll start with a roll call this evening.
Commissioner Beer?
Here.
Commissioner Lacey? Commissioner Posey?
Here.
Commissioner Weber?
Here.
President Opeth?
Here. Thanks for coming. It's a large audience tonight. I always love to hear from our residents, so I want to thank you in advance for coming to join us this evening. Jenny, any changes or announcements on the agenda?
Nope.
All right. Why don't we start this evening with public comments? There's a large group tonight, so I just want to go over the rules to make sure that everybody has a chance to be heard tonight. So just remember, when you start your comment, please state your name and address. You also each have 3 minutes to make your comments. Please address any comments to me, if you don't mind. And the other thing I would ask, if you don't mind, if you didn't sign in, we would love to know who's here. So if you did get a chance to sign the sheet, please consider that. It's by the door on the table. Thank you. So with that, why don't we open the floor for any public comments this evening?
John, do you want to take the mic so everybody can hear you? Please? Thanks.
My name is John Pluto. I live at 718 East Avenue. Been a resident for 45 years there. I would like to bring up some important points about the proposed improvements to Sedgwick Park, that perhaps there could be a better solution that could aid residents that live in the Depression 5 and 6 near the park. I have collated a small packet of photos so everyone can see what's involved here. I only have 3 minutes to get this to everyone's attention, and these issues have been around much longer than that. The first photo on the third page is 49th Street walking path, the flooded walking path. This happens every time we have a heavy rain, and depending upon how wet and dry the ground is. The second photo, Sedgwick Park, 49th Street. I call it Sedgwick Falls. This is where thousands of gallons of water go into the sewers, the combination sewers that take care of 10th and 9th, and Depression 5 is on heavy rains. They have issues with sewer backups. If we could keep some of the water from spilling into the combination sewer coming down 49th Street, we could help the 5th, 4th, 3rd Depressions respectively. Proposed multi-purpose court with chain link fence is the next photo on the third page. And you see water puddled there, all running down the path from the west. The next one is a better shot of it during the day. Photos show East Avenue closed and water coming out of the sewers. Possible problems with excessive water running down the 2 handicap ramps from the 49th Street path. Photo 6 shows Countryside Park, 61st and Kensington Avenue. Note there are various prairie gardens and rain gardens and pavers that aid in containing flooding problems. Parking area, the 7th photo is a parking area at Countryside Park with natural gardens at location and pavers to dissipate rainwater. Lagrange has to go green to help with flooding issues in the South Basin. We don't have many options, and adding flooding issues or ignoring them is not in our best interest. If we attack the problem with 21st century ingenuity, we can make the area around the park a better environment without the risk of going into FEMA for flood insurance. I think any improvisions of 1,000 square foot slab would be detrimental to 60 or plus residents in the Sedgwick Park area. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
Additional comments this evening? Please.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jean O'Brien. I live at 701 11th Avenue. I have a very good backyard neighbor. I'm here today to ask the Park District to join with Sedgwick Park neighbors to put its weight behind a request that IDOT reroute eastbound Plainfield Road traffic north onto LaGrange Road due to the road construction on East and 47th. Since the beginning of this project, our neighborhood has been inundated with a wildly inappropriate amount of traffic. And at one point, the signage on 55th Street and East Avenue was changed, which vastly improved the situation, but there's still a tremendous amount of traffic going by, particularly on 49th and 10th. They did put up signs saying that 10th and 9th Avenue were closed at 49th to northbound traffic, which only diverts the traffic down the street towards the elementary school, which is not a solution. I think the solution is to get the traffic off Plainfield Road at LaGrange Road. In the spring, we'll be kicking off LaGrange Little League. There'll be a lot more people, children, vehicles, adults, grandparents at the park. Often the parking overflows down 11th and 12th Avenues and they have to cross 49th Street to get to the park. With the level of traffic on 49th Street right now, I think that's going to be a dangerous situation. And the rerouting of the traffic goes around two sides of Sedgwick Park, so I think the Park District is an interested party in this situation. I will email the board members a version of this statement along with contact information for the IDOT officials responsible for this project. And I hope you'll join with us in encouraging them to find a better solution.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Rose Nassif, 911 South Stone Avenue. I'm totally in support of green infrastructure in the parks in any way, shape, or form, slowing down the flow of water into the sewers and away from our hardscapes. Totally in support of that. Thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else? No? Okay. Oh,
So,
Name and address, please.
let me be official here.
you got it. There you go. How are you?
I'm well, are you?
Good, thank you.
So Dan Madeira, 701 12th Avenue. We share a common neighbor. He's okay. I joke. But anyway, in regards to that basketball court that we're thinking about putting over at 49, I'm still in favor of, I'll say, moving it, right? So moving it from 49th Street where it's currently proposed, possibly to the opposite park or opposite parking lot. That area is I'll say, pretty utilized as we talked about, as Gene talked about here about baseball games and everything else, baseball, softball, volleyball as well. The volleyball courts, to my surprise, all three are, used, I'll call it, right? Which it was shocking to me when I moved in roughly 10 years ago. I look at the impact of, I'll say, some of the trees and whatnot in that area, as well as moving volleyball courts, and think of, would it be better suited for this other side, I'll say the closer parking lot here by the tennis courts and soon to be, I believe, pickleball courts, where there is more green space. That parking lot is not as utilized as the others, which would also then bring it closer to more traffic, more people. Like again, a parking lot that is not as utilized, whereas I feel like it would kind of balance out the park too, right? Where that end of the park is heavily utilized as opposed to this other end of the park, right? And it would be less impactful to potentially, like, depending on, again, layouts and whatnot, but the trees in the area, the other, vegetation in the area, things of that nature, where it would be a fresh slate, and then maybe we clean up those other volleyball courts, right? So keep the 3 volleyball courts if we need to or if we want to, but then add the basketball court to this end of the park. Again, to better utilize the entire park, or maybe even like another spot I was thinking would be in the center section right by that dugout where that concession stand used to be and that's now gone, where that Babe Ruth maybe in the middle. But again, if we need it close to a parking lot within, 5 feet, we'll call it, this end here, I think, would be better utilized, again, to balance out the entire park versus focusing everything on the other end. Right, I have made comments that, granted, yes, that East Avenue parking lot is not heavily utilized, but if we start adding volleyball and basketball and baseball and potentially softball, now it would be heavily utilized versus this one staying empty. Because this one will have, 6 or 8 cars, unless it's during Monday through Friday when the workers park there in the industrial area. But anyways, I just want to make that comment on, hey, if we need to move it because of whatever reasons, please let's really consider moving it to this opposite end of the park where it wouldn't focus, because then I feel like I would have the brunt, me as well as us at here at the end, would have the brunt of everything living right there on those end houses, right? Because now volleyball, basketball, whatever multi-use court it would also be used for, right, is all focused on that end where all the houses are. Meanwhile, the industrial side of the park is open and vacant. So the industrial people are not impacted, which I would think it's a little, we don't have to worry about them at night, right? Pick up basketball games, where I talk to people in the neighborhood that will do a pickup game. We'll put it on social media, and they'll have 100 people show up to a pickup game. Which I'm hoping I don't have 100 random people showing up across the street from my house. But that's my comments.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Anyone? Oh, look at that.
Where would I drop it? Guaranteed to drop it. I'm Virginia Delaney. I live at 730 11th Avenue, and I absolutely concur with all of the comments made thus far. But I see so many people walking down the street on 11th and 12th Avenue because there already is not enough parking on 49th Street. And I think causing more congestion to our neighborhood streets where you're only allowed to park on one side. Driveways have been blocked at my home and other homes, and I just don't think we need additional activities that close to 49th. So 47th, or at least move it a little further down, and can we expand the parking lot that's already adjacent to the tennis courts? I mean, there has to be something, but I think having such a congested area for so many children coming through there is just not acceptable. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll take it, Virginia.
What time is it? 6:13.
Hi, I'm Tish Bernhardt. I'm here with my husband, David Bernhardt, and we are at 755 11th Avenue. So there's a number of us here who all live very close to each other. And I don't want to belabor any of they're all very, very important points that were made tonight. And I won't spend 3 minutes reiterating, but I think Dan brought up an excellent point about the basketball courts. While I'm not directly in the line of fire, I think those individuals who live, Dan, Jean, Bob, they're going to get the brunt of that. I think there's going to be an unintended consequence to that. So I just want to reiterate and support what has already been stated. And then also to the point Jean made about the traffic situation going on there. That's really not great right now. And of course, John and others who have spoke to the water issues. So again, I think by the neighborhood turnout that has been here, we all have concerns about what's going on. Okay.
Anyone else? Oh.
My name is Marion Hannah Wilson. I live at 958th Avenue, and I'm the president of the Community Diversity Group of LaGrange area. And I want to mention two programs that the Community Diversity Group is working on. And one, thank you so much, Jenny, for publicizing our upcoming 5th Annual Building Inclusive Community Conference. So this is the 5th one, but thank you, Jenny, for now joining the planning team and helping us to publicize this really excellent conference that gives people in the community a chance to hear stories about other people in the community and learn about people who might be different from them. Lots of different topics. It's going to be Saturday, February 8th in the morning at 9 o'clock over at Lyons Township High School. We start at 9, doors open at 8:30, with a speaker and some dance performances by students at the high school and a poet, and then 2 rounds of workshops, 10:15 and 11:30, and then lunch paid for by Compass Real Estate. And yeah, it should be a really awesome morning, and so I hope you can come. And you don't have to stay for the whole thing, you could just come for one of the workshops if you want. And the QR code on the flyer takes you right to the registration page, and then you can see all the workshops and register for the one that you're interested in. And I also want to mention our scholarship program. We have a scholarship program for summer scholarships for students in K-12, or no, K-7, kindergarten through 7th grade. And so we'll be publicizing that momentarily, and I think that the deadline is into February, I think, for people to apply, and then they can use those funds for summer programs. So summer programs like Park District programs. So the Community Diversity Group, in the past, we've given scholarships up to $300 to students to help them afford to go to a summer program. So I just want to mention, if you have any questions, you can email us at lagrangediversity@gmail.com. Thank you.
And there are some flyers for the conference over by the sign-in table, if anybody's interested.
Thank you. Additional comments this evening?
I did want to,
Check.
and put it in front of everyone, but my name is Laura. I live on 49th Street, 700 East Avenue. And my kitchen window actually faced the park. And there's the volleyball court there and the baseball field. And I've been living there for about the same amount of time as John. And I want to say being there, I've done many good improvements to the park. I just wanted to let you know, when we first moved in there, we did not have a path at all. And they put that in, and people started to come, and it's a beautiful park. And the basketball court, I am very concerned about having that put where they want to put it. I hope they won't, and they could just leave it where it is now, or move it further away, because I am concerned about the activity with the basketball court. There's a value of our home too. The way I understood it, they want to put the basketball court with a high chain fence all the way around it, and I just think it would be an eyesore for people driving by the park. Anyway, I support John and Jane and everyone else. I just hope you would consider moving the basketball court. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I guess I'll add the note too that I do agree with John and Jean. So we're taking tallies.
Additional comments?
Hey, I know I can't speak again, but I have a good point. I forgot to bring the sign in.
You have to keep it to 3 minutes, John. I'm sorry to say that. Is there anybody else that would have a comment?
Others?
Yeah, it's all.
Oh, John, just say it.
Go ahead.
You know what,
Go ahead.
there's a sign that we have that says, drive like your kids live here.
Oh,
Which
Or
would play here.
Yeah.
Which would be nice if right along the park area, I'm Linda Pluto, by the way. So, it would be nice if the village, could get some and put them on the corners, like 10, like when you're driving, if you could do it at every corner, coming down, people look at those when they're driving. They look and they see that, especially right now with all the traffic. And my concern really is the kids. I'm just so, these kids are on scooters, they're on bikes, these big semi trucks come down, they turn. They wouldn't see a little one on the corner. You know, Dan has little ones, you have little ones, right? And they ride scooters, there's kids, my kids are grown, and I live down the street we've been in our house for 46 years. And, you know, it's always been, and safety for me, you know, like my kids, we don't have sidewalks. I drove my kids to school, they went to 7th Avenue, but I still drove them because I was worried about the speeding and it was back then, traffic would speed down there. Even now, like when you're coming down 49 and people are coming off the East Avenue, we have to go around to get into our driveway come down 49. They take 3/4 of our lane. So you know, when they turn, you have to be back from that stop sign. Those cars are coming and flying. I'm worried about the kids. That's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about, I see the kids at baseball, you know, they're taking their bags out of the car. They are in the street. And I'm more worried about cars than the big trucks because they're trying to go slow and turn. But these cars, they fly down those side streets. And even East Avenue, it's 40 miles an hour from 47th Street to Plainfield. You know, there's houses there at school, there's kids playing soccer. I wrote the state of Illinois in 1982 to have the speed limit lowered. They wouldn't lower it. But I just don't think that's necessary either. But these cars that just fly down there, and there's a school, you know, some people go through the stop signs. I just think if we could get signs that say, just maybe distract people from, you know, to kind of look at it and think about it, you know, think, oh gosh, you know, your kids left here, would you be driving like that? You know, that would be something that maybe we could do or look into, that the village could put at the corners, especially on 49th, even 50th. Because of the school, you know, the school is there, and our stop signs also by the schools. If they could blink, like have, you know, like lights to say that the school is, you know, that we're coming up to the school, I think that would be an improvement to maybe slow people down. It's, you know, it's a lot of traffic coming through there. Even when, right now there's just so much more traffic, but people speed all the time down those side streets. And I think we kind of have to maybe have police out there a little bit more. I really don't know what the answer is, but you know.
Well, thank you.
Try to get something.
Yeah.
But the signs, I think, would be nice.
Any other
Any
comments?
additional comments?
Putting you to work, yeah.
I'll take it. You can pay as much as we do.
Hi, my name is Sharon Cook. I'm at 729 12th Avenue, and I've lived in that house for 36 years. I agree with all the water and the density of a basketball court on the corner between the outfield of the baseball field, the parking lot, and the volleyball courts. It just would be madness. I think the northeast corner is a good solution for that. But as far as all the traffic coming through, I walk my dog in the lot like everybody else does, and you see all the volume of traffic. In the summer, all the people parking on 12th Avenue and 11th, I know 11th Avenue got no parking on one side of the street. I'm fine with them when they park. I like them using the park. The sounds from night, the lights from that night and all the baseball games, that's happy sounds. So that doesn't bother me. But the concern for the children that have to walk or from the people walking, there should be a no parking, Dan, this would probably help you, no parking to the stop sign facing north, because apparently it's 30 feet. I thought it was only 15 feet from a stop sign. So that's 3 cars that park right there, and then that blocks the sight lines for the people coming west, turning off at East Avenue before construction. Now it's 100% of any car going down East Avenue. It's going to turn left there to go west. So the sight lines for anyone going north, like us coming out of our driveway, that's our only way out. We have to go north. The sight line to that traffic coming from the east, it would be opened up. And I think that was a concern many years ago when somebody wanted sidewalks just because of that. the easy solution instead of sidewalk, which everyone, well, not everyone, but majority voted down. The solution would have been to put a no parking there to the stop sign, and that would open the sight line. So I don't know if the park district gets involved in that, or I'd have to call the village, if the village would have to do that. But that's a solution to sightline the traffic and the pedestrians getting to East Avenue in the park.
Additional comments before John walks it back? Same steps.
It's fine. Thank you, John.
All right, thank you for sharing those comments with us this evening. I'd like to move on to agenda item 3.0. This is the consent agenda. At this time, I'll ask for a motion for the approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting dated December 9th, 2024, approval of the Truth and Taxation public hearing minutes dated December 9th, 2024, approval of the financial reports dated December 31st, 2024, and approval of the consolidated vouchers for January dated January 13th, 2025.
Second.
Commissioner Veer?
Yes.
Commissioner Posey?
Yes.
Commissioner Lacey?
Yes.
Commissioner Weber?
Yes.
President Opeth?
Yes, let's move to agenda item 4.1, the director's report.
Okay, I don't have much to add to my report. We will be talking about the site plans under action items. I just did want to note that we were awarded the OSLAD grant for Gilbert, so we received $600,000 to go towards that project, which is great. So thank you to the staff and board for work on that. And then also, I was going to announce the Building Inclusive Conference, a community conference, so but Marianne already hit on that. So that's all I had, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Seeing no questions for Jenny this evening.
Can we just give her another applause?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I did not expect us to.
It's exciting.
Could you repeat the grant?
The grant is OSLAD from the Illinois Department of Natural Resources. So it's a $600,000 matching grant. So it is part of the referendum project, but we'll get an additional $600,000 for that project. So.
And that money will be put towards Gilbert Park.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really instrumental to getting a lot of the things that we wanted to get done, and using some monies that are coming from the state. So that's fantastic. All right, if nothing further there, let's move on to Kevin in the recreation report. Oh, Kevin, sorry. Jamie, sorry. Let's move to finance and HR.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to add to my report. Just a couple things to note that all the ordinances that the board approved at November's meeting have been submitted and approved by Cook County. And then wanted to keep the board apprised. Payroll has been updated. Cook County enacted a new minimum wage law for $15 minimum wage. So we had gone ahead and made all the payroll adjustments to align with the Cook County standards. And then as far as payroll, all benefits have been updated for our first calendar payroll, which will be this Friday the 17th. So just a couple highlights.
Any questions for Jamie? All right, seeing none, now we'll move to Kevin.
Couple things to note in my report. We are in the swing of the winter-spring season, so we're busy again. We had a couple-week lull with no basketball. This is our biggest basketball season we've ever had at the district. We're up to 516 players for our in-house league. Travel's still ongoing. We're doing really well with athletics right now. Other item I want to point out in my report is the fall end-of-season report. So, a couple things to notate in here. If we start with the communities that we service, the biggest areas that we get participation from is Grange, Park, Brookfield. Those are our top 3 communities. Age demographics was interesting. So we skew heavily 56 and older. Have broken down those different demographics and where every participant fell. Within the program data section, we do overall have less enrollment. There's a variety of reasons for that. Specifically with special interest and performing arts, we've removed a lot of contractors that were constantly making offerings of 10, 12, 16 classes, but we were canceling them or we're running them with 3 or 4 kids. We lost our dance contractor a year ago. We still have not been successful in starting that program back up. So that was a good chunk of participation we lost in the performing arts section. The silver line to all this, revenue is still up right now. So even though the enrollment count is down, we're still bringing in more revenue with the programs we're offering. And then the last thing I want to point out is the fitness programs. So if you recall this summer, we did switch the logistics of how the fitness programs works. So everyone now takes the same classes. If you're a fitness member, if you are a non-fitness member, you can pay to take those classes. So for non-fitness members, we had 58 people decide to do that. But overall, we have a better tracking of our fitness members taking classes. We had 1,899 take those in the fall season. Answer any questions for you? Yes.
So I do think it's interesting, the participant demographics. Are there any plans, are you going to dig into those numbers even more? And then are there plans to then build programs around those demographic findings?
Yeah, so you'll see that we are severely lacking in 13, 17-year-olds and 18 to 35-year-olds. So that's going to be a point of consideration going forward, because those traditionally fall those special interest type classes anyway. So we're trying to figure out how to better service that area, and then that will translate into that age demographic.
Do you think we're suffering in that, I'll say teenage group because of travel sports and other private clubs? Is that?
Yes.
Do we want to compete with that, or do we accept it, I guess is my question.
You don't. We technically already compete with it with travel basketball. And we get traditionally the players that are either cut from these other organizations or they're already doing travel basketball as their second or third sport. So they're focused on another sport and they're just playing competitively because their friends are playing and they don't have the time to commit to it.
Yeah, I would just really love your strategic guidance on where you think, where the staff thinks we should spend our time, if that's worth it. As we go forward, we don't need to discuss that tonight, but I was also extremely surprised about to see that 56 plus was a huge.
What are you looking at me for?
Well, I'm just surprised. So, for those of you who haven't seen the board packet, for those of you that haven't, well, I'm getting close to that, by the way. For those of you that haven't seen the numbers here, from the kids section, the biggest group is 6 to 9-year-olds with about 600. Number 2 is the 3 to 5-year-olds, 300. But we have this group of 56 to 7-year-olds that's 1,132. So that's really shocking, but it also tells me we're providing something that maybe the community needs at an affordable price, I hope. So I was glad to see that. I did have one follow-up question I wanted to ask about the fitness center, which also blew my mind, was I saw the personal training revenue was really high for December, like astronomically compared to what it has been. Is there something we're doing different, or what do you think is driving the interest in personal training?
I think it's the availability right now of the trainers. They're on site a little bit more. We have 2 trainers that traditionally bring in a large number of clientele, and they've been more available recently.
So question, what age demographic are they typically serving? Is it the 56 plus group, or who do you see?
Yes.
Okay, it is. All right.
So when you say availability, was that like a seasonal type of thing that went off, or is this going to be continuing?
It's based on their jobs outside of this location.
So it might be a one-off, it might continue, but they're...
The 2 that have been bringing in consistently, they're usually the highest in terms of clientele.
So I have a question then. Are you done?
Yes, I am.
I have a question on the non-fitness participants that you mentioned. Those are ones that have to pay for each class, per class?
Correct.
Okay. And that's why it went down got decimated, basically.
Correct.
But we're still covering our costs in terms of the model, as I understand it, right? For those classes.
When you listed the communities in this, so is Countryside still part of the Grange?
Countryside, so that's a good thing to bring up. Those communities are based off of the area code, so Countryside, and there's a couple others that fall into that 60525.
Okay. And then the other question I have, I'll try not to belabor you. The Decider rule. So this is to date from May. I guess we have over a month. So we've had 22 rentals so far this year. Is that correct? It's on. There's no page number. Sorry. Year to date May. I mean that's what it says here. A couple pages back, perhaps from that section.
Is that 22?
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah. So, is that typical for just at this time of year to have?
Oh.
So we've had no.
No, it's low.
That's low. And is it just because we've had overcapacity with other sections or construction, or?
I don't have an answer for that question. That's something I can look into.
Okay, I'm just curious because I'd like to max out this room. It's a nice room. That's all. It's in our
Yeah, we have flyers.
Yeah.
Yes, we
It's on the web.
rentals, yeah. Right, any other questions for Kevin this evening? Thank you, sir. Let's move on to Larry to talk about park maintenance.
I don't have anything to add to my board report, but I am open for questions.
I got a quick question. I don't know if you were here yet. Did someone blow up the garbage can in the middle of Sedgwick Field?
I think it caught fire, yeah, we removed it.
Okay. No, I noticed that you guys went real fast on it because I noticed it in the morning. I just walk sometimes and it was like, oh my God, what happened?
Yeah, it looked like it caught fire, so the day we saw it, we pulled it out.
Thank you.
Was there recently?
A month ago?
Oh, any plans for those trucks yet? I saw those were
The vans?
Yeah, the vans, sorry.
Not at this time.
Okay.
Those are donated. Larry did a great job getting them transitioned over to us, and so now we're just going to determine if we have any use for them.
Okay. And then the building itself, we'll probably talk about this too, but at Denny Park, that's been winterized. We have no plans to do anything in that for the foreseeable future, correct?
For the winter, we'll probably relocate some summer camp over there.
Okay.
So, but nothing for the winter.
Okay. Any other questions for Larry? All right, thank you. Let's move on to the attorney's report.
Nothing to.
All right. Treasury report. Any updates this evening?
Nothing at this time.
All right. Action items. So let's get into 7.1 discussion annual approval of the referendum site plans and schedule.
Okay, well, first, thank you for everybody for coming out. The site plans will be approved by the board tonight, so.
Now, would you mind speaking?
Oh, sure. Sorry about that. Okay, so the board will be approving the site plans tonight. So for the audience, I'll keep everything up here so you can see it. Right here. So just a couple items to talk about as we get into this. The proposed plans are Group A, which would be 2025 construction, which would be community center. Denning Park without the soccer field, and that's due to MWRD permitting. Elm Park, Gordon Dog Gordon Park without the dog park, Rotary Centennial Park, Spring Park, and then the facilities would also be in Group A, Community Center, Gilbert, and Sedgwick. So that would be Group A in 2025, and then Group B would be Denning Park, the soccer field only, Gilbert Park, Gordon Park, the dog park, and Sedgwick Park. So we need to approve these site plans tonight so we can start with construction development because it does take time and we need to get the permitting done through the village so we can meet the spend down. So if you look further in your board packet, you'll kind of see the schedule. So the bond we're looking to issue end of February, mid-March, which then we have 24 months to start spending that bond. So some of the critical dates, we're looking at preschool and different programs that we hold within our buildings. So if you look at some of the drawings, that the timeline, the construction plans would start January 6th through March 31st. So we're trying to start these drawings. Then we want to submit for the village permits, and then we can go out to bidding. And then once the permits are received, we can then finalize everything. So it's a really quick timeline, especially for Group A. And some of the items have been removed from, like the soccer field is going to require MWRD permits, which could take up to 6 months. So that's why some of these items have been pulled out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which soccer field?
The one that's being added at Denning.
Yep.
So the staff have been really looking at the different buildings and facilities since those will be in Group A. So we're working on relocating programs to different buildings or to the recreation center. Kevin and his team have been working on that. And then we've also been notifying some of our long-term rentals that we've had so they can plan accordingly. If we don't have the building available, we can get them in the rec center or another location. Something to keep in mind with this schedule is that fields, athletic fields, soccer fields will be closed for up to a year and possibly longer depending on the turf restoration and how that comes back in. We don't want to open a field if it's not fully established. And so we're trying to work with affiliates and letting them know what will be available and what will be closed. This year we are trying to implement some flag football, so we are trying to increase our programming as well. So there is going to be limited space available for different affiliate groups, and we're, again, going to do our best to accommodate everybody with these projects. We have been in contact with the village, and we're working on, we had a pre-meeting talking about some of the items that we might need. We are looking right now, it does look like some of the courts and band shell will fall under special use permits, which might require additional approval from the village. So we are still, again, working through that. So I thought what we could do is kind of go through each plan and talk about each plan and then kind of approve the plan as we go. Does that sound good with the board? Perfect. So we are going to start with the community center. And the community center, we have no changes. We haven't heard, the feedback we've heard from the community on this has been positive. So we would like to move forward with the facility and the park with no changes as presented.
Jenny, are you looking for us to individually approve or changes to each?
We're looking for just the approval, and then we'll do one big motion at the end with any changes.
Okay.
So is there any feedback on the community center from the board with any potential changes?
I think it's great.
I agree. Here, and I'm pleased to hear that the feedback from the surrounding community is positive.
Okay. So we're good with community center. Yes?
Yeah, I'm good there.
Okay, perfect. All right, so then we move to Denning Park. Denning Park, again, we have received positive feedback from the community. Again, this will The soccer field will be left off in the first grouping, but added to the second, so we can obtain that MWRD permit. This is the basketball court with some shade trees. It has a 9-hole disc golf course. We are expanding the garden plots and adding a water line. The soccer field, a little more the existing pathway, but we also are adding a few more pathways to get to the basketball court. There will be fencing along Willow Springs Road along the soccer field to keep the children safe, and the restrooms being added here, 2 unisex stalls.
I just have one question.
Mm-hmm.
With the 9-hole disc golf, the kindergarten soccer games with the movable nets, those will no longer be at that location like it's traditionally been?
We were going to try to put the disc golf around that, but we'll have to see how that plays out.
Okay, so it's still possible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Jenny, on the building that's being removed currently, that's just a grassy area?
Yes, that's what it'll be.
I'm good there.
Good with Denning?
Yeah, no changes.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, and then Elm had very little changes currently. It is a circular basketball court, so we are going to change that to with 3 half-court baskets. Going to add just a mini court there. It's a 30 by 60. The existing playground will exist. We're looking to replace that. It's not past its useful life yet. And then just clearing out some of those trees by the sled hill for better visibility. So this park, really the main component is the mini basketball court.
I have one comment to Elm Park.
Mm-hmm.
My kids used that park a lot when they were younger.
Mm-hmm.
And what I liked about this park when they were that age is that they could wander, but I wouldn't worry about them wandering too far because the shrubs, under item 7, while I was never a fan of the shrubs because they would get lost, and it's common knowledge there's not great things left in the shrubs. I did like the barrier there. So is there any discussion of some kind of, whether it's a fencing, otherwise that's a wide open space for a kid on the sledding hill to just
What about
wander.
just a short?
What's that?
What about just a short shrub? Like a 3-foot type of thing? Because they're really big right now, right?
They're really big, and there's a space in between, so the kids like to hide in there.
Yeah.
But so do other people.
Is there a fence in there in those shrubs, or no? There's no fence in there?
There's no fence. It's just they're large shrubs that you can go. They're the ones that kind of, I don't know what they're
Yeah,
called.
no, I've seen them.
Because I kill plants, but it's where the kids can get in the middle. But it did provide a nice natural barrier to keep them contained, that they wouldn't go to the other side. So that would be my only note for this, is that parents might appreciate just having some sort of barrier. Otherwise, it's wide open to.
Okay, we'll take a look.
I would also be, you're thinking about winter too with that hill, and somebody sleds down the wrong way.
Yeah, well, and they bike up, and the kids bike up and down it or roll down it, so it's great for them.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree with you to keep some kind of barrier, either natural or otherwise.
Okay.
But not tall.
Well, not a place where they can do
We'll look at it.
things in between the
Yeah.
bushes.
That feedback wouldn't really change the site plan too much.
No, we
Purposes of
can
this conversation.
we can add that into the construction development. We'll look at that. So, okay.
So any consensus there on that plan then?
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect. The next park we're going to look at is Gilbert. So there's two plans for Gilbert. So the first plan is the referendum plan, and then the second plan has the red dotted line, which is the OSLAD grant. So that OSLAD grant has been approved. We're moving forward with that as is. because the board did approve that portion with the OSLAD grant. So looking at the other items, the one item we do need to finalize tonight is the number 12, which is the multi-generational recreation games. Currently, they're shuffleboard. I know there's been a lot of talk about adding some bocce courts, so the staff would like to put in bocce courts there. We can do some programming through the rec department. Kevin and I spoke about that. So and we do have to let the village know this is one of those possible special use permits. So if the board is amicable to bocce, we'd like to plug that in number 12. And then everything else would remain the same. We had no recommended changes here.
Well, I've been pushing bocce for 10 years.
Is there any other feedback? And then this one also does have the facility. Oops, sorry, a little too fast there. And in Gilbert, this is getting the ceiling and flooring, different code updates. So you're approving that as well, the building too.
Any feedback from the surrounding community on this one?
Regarding the
bocce in particular?
Not in particular. I know one resident really still wants to keep it shuffleboard, but we know that the trend is more towards some of these newer sports, bocce and things like that. We also felt that bocce is kind of like an open space, so you don't just have to play that. It's not an actual court or items. You can do different games within that, especially with the preschool there. So we felt it was a very diverse, playable space.
Jay, did we take out the bathrooms? Did we have like at one point any kind of bathroom access to the building?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
That's actually, there's doors, but those are being removed.
The external doors you're speaking of?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Oops. And there's portlets there for the power.
Good.
Looks good to me.
So we're good with the bocce?
Yeah, I'm good with the bocce.
Okay. Okay. All right. Let's see. Next, we have Gordon. So Gordon, we have been receiving some feedback about. First, I'm going to start. The handball group has reached out. They are looking for some more shade over by the handball area, the handball courts. And so in speaking with White & Company, we are putting in the band shell. We currently have that smaller band shell, which is 12 feet by 24 feet. It's an approximate, which we were taking out to put a bigger band shell there so we can do different special events and programming. We talked to White about moving that band shell over closer to the handball courts to provide shade for the handball participants, and then recycle that unit. So that we could add in. They're also looking for some other additional items. They would like a new shed for their Christmas tree sale, and then they'd also like to potentially add another one wall court, either on the east or west side of the handball courts. The staff, adding concrete was a big deterrent for the residents. Residents didn't want more concrete added or asphalt. So we are going to talk to the club, and if they want to present something to the board to put another court in, that would be something that we'd need to present and get approval from the board. And then that's something that they would need to fund on their own if they wanted to put in another court, or the shed, because it is utilized just for their Christmas tree sale, and the park district doesn't have any utilization of that shed. So we will be looking for approval to add the the shelter relocation, the band shell relocation over by the handball courts, but those other two items we would present back to the handball group to put together their proposal and present it to the board.
So the location of the band shell, is that going to be moved up toward, like what I'm looking at right now, that's where the current proposal is?
No, number 3,
Yes.
that is the band shell. That is what we're going to put in.
Right, but if I understood you correctly, at the request or suggestion of the handball people, they want the band shell moved closer.
I'm sorry, not the current one.
They want to repurpose the existing.
There's
Yes.
an existing
Got
thing
it.
that looks like a small band shell.
Yes.
That's got two or three benches under it.
Got it,
I think
okay.
we want to save that because why trash it, right?
Yes, thank you for that clarification.
Yes, sorry.
So where do they want to put it?
Well, somewhere closer. We would have to speak to White about where the best place to put it would be. We would obviously get their input as well, but someplace over closer to the handball court so they would have an area with shade.
So I was trying to visualize it though. So like the existing one's facing out like that. What did you call it again? Not the band shelter.
The mini shelter.
The mini shelter.
Yeah.
So do you think they want it facing the courts or like, I'm just trying to visualize it.
Well, if you go over there when they're playing, they're all lined up against the fence sitting in the chairs.
Yeah.
They have lawn chairs, so I have a feeling they'd probably enjoy a shaded space.
This is asphalt, so it would have to go somewhere on, a side here or here.
So would it be on top of a hard space like asphalt or something?
That we would have to still work out. We just wanted, but yes, it would have to be on a hard space because we would want our shelter. But it would increase the cost for us here, but we do feel that many other users in the park would. Yes.
It'd be nice to have it near the walking path.
Yes. But again, their other two proposals, they would need to put their own plans together and submit to come present to the board. Then the other item that we've been getting a lot of feedback on is the dog park. The dog park, the location is a concern for a lot of individuals, residents, Little League, baseball, soccer. They're concerned about the closeness to the fields. We've also received some feedback just about safety of dog parks in general. There was also some talk at one of our board meetings about if it was the right location and if it's something the community wants. The survey did come back with being a low priority 1 to 2 at 47%. And I think the staff are just right now wanting to make sure it gets put in the right location. We've looked at other locations. One of the other locations that is a possible potential area is the location, when we get to Sedgwick, we'll talk about, is the area where they're talking about putting the other basketball court, relocating it over there. And then the other area would be Denning Park where the soccer field is, so you could leave the soccer field at Gordon and possibly put the soccer field in at Denning. However, the feedback from the Denning folks is they don't want it there. So while there's a lot of interest, 34% thought a dog park was a high priority, 4 to 5. We're still concerned that we don't necessarily have the right location, and we're trying to force a circle peg into a square hole, or a square hole into a circle peg. So I just kind of wanted to open it up. Staff is thinking that it might be a good idea just to remove it at this point until we can figure out if we have a location for it.
So what would the plan be? If we take it out now, we just leave that kind of as is, status quo, and then?
It would leave more green space for programming and soccer. So we would leave 2 soccer fields, and then we could evaluate down the road, continue to look at maybe do a dog park feasibility study. Again, we just have concerns that we're going to put it in and it's going to cause more challenges for certain programs.
So this is in Group B, right?
We did move it to Group B to give us more time to kind of figure out if we had a place.
So I think we just push it down the road until then.
Okay.
Get better feedback from the public.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Okay,
I agree with that.
okay. So we'll leave it in Group B for right now.
Yep.
Okay. And then no other changes to Gordon Park. I do want to bring up one thing with Gordon Park. This construction will be taking place starting this summer. So at this point, we are going to have to put Country Jam on hold for a year because we will not have a location. But we will come back better the next year with the band shop. So the only change then would be adding back in the existing band shell to move it over by the handball courts. Okay. All right, and then moving on. Rotary. We did push the playground a bit north, to the north of the park, and that was they were a bit aggressive trying to put it in the middle of the park with the tree lines. So they're in the root zones, the critical root zones, so they shifted it to the right to make sure they could not damage any trees. So that's why it's all the way on the right, and then the south side of the park will be a nice green space area. So that would be the recommendations for this park, and then we are going to talk a little bit about, as you can see here by number 2, the neighbor's home, their driveway is actually in our property line. I did speak with that individual to see if there was any previous arrangements. They were not aware of anything. Obviously, we want to be good neighbors, so I did speak to Dirk, and we can do an easement agreement to allow them to utilize our property for the life of that garage. And then once the useful life of that garage comes up and they're rebuilding, the easement agreement would go away. Anything you want to add, Dirk?
Well, just it's been there a while, and we could do a legal throwdown, I guess. We haven't owned the property as long as there's been a garage there, so the prior property owners may have done something we haven't been able to find in the records. But at the moment, this is a constituent of the park district, and we've got a plan that works around it. It just needs to end at some point.
What about also a transfer of ownership?
Well, you have to go to court approval. That's a rather lengthy process. You just sleeping.
No. What I'm saying is that you said that if the garage was no longer usable, it would become ours again, correct?
Not the garage.
Not the garage, it's the driveway.
It's just.
No, the driveway, the driveway property would go back to us if that garage became.
It remains ours. We'd tell them we'd have to move the driveway.
Yeah.
That's what we're
Yeah. But what if they changed ownership as well, like someone else bought it?
We weren't gonna make that be the trigger.
Okay. I'm just wondering.
Well, I didn't know if I understand the layout. The garage door faces the park property instead of the alley.
Yeah.
So the real issue is if and when they rebuild the garage, if they put the door on the alley side, there's no problem. Right?
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
So we would work with Ansel Glink to get that and speak with the neighbor again.
I mean, that seems reasonable. I don't want to make anybody, if they've been doing it, if we can get an agreement that when it's replaced, it's corrected. Seems fair, right?
Yeah, and the house was built in the 1950s, and we obtained the land in the 1970. So the home was there first.
Yeah, but we don't know how the garage was.
Right.
That's part of the problem, is the records aren't good here.
Right.
So, but we just want the board to be aware that we are leaving that as is, and we'll work on that easement agreement, and then it's just pushed to the north a little bit. So.
Good.
Good with Rotary? Yes?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Sedgwick, is there any conversation about this one? Okay, so staff has already spoken with White about relocating the basketball court to the northeast, or to the east of the 47th parking lot. It can be relocated. It will remove about 4 to 7 trees. So the board has to be okay with removing trees, which we were trying to avoid. And it will also require a retaining wall on the south and east side, a 2 to 3 foot retaining wall. So that is possible. This was one of the areas that we were exploring to put the dog park, because it is right now full of trees. But if the basketball court, if the board decides to move the basketball court over here, this would no longer be an option for a dog park.
Jenny?
Yes.
So I don't think, I'm not sure where they're looking at putting it, but if they put it adjacent to that parking lot, I don't see why it would take out 5 trees. Because I actually measured out there, there's more space there than there is in the volleyball area between the trees.
Yeah, I just put this up. This is what they sent me.
Okay, so why do they have to move it over, what is it, 10 feet from the parking lot?
Because of the grading and the location, there could be setbacks requirements by the village. This is what they gave me. This is where they felt it would be best. And again, it could have to do with some of those setbacks from the village.
Setback from the parking lot?
Yeah, different setback requirements. So.
Are we required to have the same parking lot footprint, like the same number of spots? Is there a reason that that lot is big? Because I always find it interesting, there's like never anyone parking there, even when there's games.
Yeah, I mean, there are certain parking requirements, but I'm not sure how this existing lot, what that was based on when it was built. So again, it can be moved. This is what White is recommending. I would have to find out if there's, I trust them. They're not just going to put it in a location. They know the residents' feelings on keeping trees, so they would put it in a place where they could limit the amount of trees.
So I also walk that space, and I do have concerns about parking. I want to raise that. I don't know that we're thinking about. We're putting in 4 pickleball courts there, which will generate significantly more traffic than we have today.
That's true.
So I think for us to think that it's not going to get a lot of traffic is not looking at where we're headed. Having seen what happens along the street in Western Springs by their pickleball courts, there's a lot of cars over there. It's crowded, so I don't think we can assume that that's going to be empty. Will it be crowded all the time? No, absolutely not.
Sure.
I'm not going to say that, but I do think there'll be more traffic there.
Okay, so if I heard you correctly, then if we move the lot, or excuse me, if we move that court to the location proposed by Wright, the consequence of that is we have to build a retaining wall for grading purposes, and we're going to have to lose how many trees?
4 to 7.
4 to 7 mature trees. Okay.
Can you go back to that?
This one?
Yeah.
So if you think about Little League, volleyball, softball.
There'll be a place for public comments at the end, please.
So when I walked this yesterday, the new trees are here. There's about 3 or 4 of them here along the fence. Those are the youngest. There's 3 on this side here that are probably being saved if you move this far enough. I'm guessing that's what they're doing. And then there is one big tree here that was. There's one really big one, and I counted 15 paces for me, which is I don't know how wide is this court going to be? You know?
I don't have the dimensions of it. I think some of these, there just might be worried about them being in the critical line, the tree line, and maybe not making it, but they said anywhere between 4 to 7.
So I think, so in the volleyball area, between the parking lot and the arbor vitae around the baseball court, that's about 70 feet. And between the trees is 99 feet.
I'm not sure what you're referring to.
So if you look at where the court is on the existing plan,
okay.
East to west is 70 feet between the parking lot and the arbor vitae. And then 99 feet between the existing 4 large trees there. Now, if you go to the tennis court area, between the parking lot and the large trees, it's 130 feet, which is 30 more feet than between the trees and existing plan between the trees there. So there's 30 more feet there. Now, if they have to get 30 feet you brought the plan down. So if they need like a drainage swale of 30 feet, that seems pretty aggressive. I'm not sure why it's that far over. So there's 130 feet by 80 feet in this area available, with only 3 small trees taken out, a 3-inch girth, a 3-inch girth, and a 7-inch girth. And at the other site, the trees are, I think they're up to 29, like the existing trees there. So if you look at, I shared some pictures with you, the honey locust trees. The existing court that they put on the existing plan is actually on top of the trees, the honey locust trees there. So I'm not sure how they're going to put that court in without taking those trees out.
Well, so my other question is, this court, is it roughly the same footprint as the sand volleyball court that's there now? So if we're laying it right on top of that.
No. That sand volleyball court is very small.
There's three of them over there.
There's 3, the third one's small.
It is?
It's overgrown, I should say.
Oh.
It's mostly grass.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to understand the size of that court versus what's there. So that's the fact I'm looking for. Because when I walked it, it looked like, my assumption was, there is a honey locust that's between the single volleyball court. There's four along the hedgerow, right? There's 4 they're on the other side of the hedgerow, the trail side. Then there's the arbor vitae there. Then there's the courts, and then between the single court and the double court, there's one large honey locust in the middle, right? And I was envisioning we're saving that tree in the middle. Is that not the case, or we have to determine that?
So on that handout I have, I could give, it shows you the trees that are there existing. So that is, if you look at one side versus the other, that's the existing plan. You could actually see it, I think it's a picnic table or something in the picture, just for placement.
Right, and I was envisioning that this thing is fitting basically over the top of this, right?
This right here. That the place is right here, almost.
Yeah, but that's the scale.
So look at the road, the path. It's pretty much the scale. Look at the size of this square. It's not perfect, but it's really, they plopped it right on top of those 4 trees. So basically, all those arbor vitae will come out, which is the huge block for the baseball to the road, and at least 1 or 2 of those trees.
Yeah, I mean, here they have a drainage swale. Again, I appreciate you measuring and walking it, but I'm going to rely on white with zoning with the village and requirements through MWRD. I'm happy to get more information if the board needs more information, but this is the information I have tonight to share. This is, Sedgwick is on Group B, so we do have a little bit more time. But again, this is going to require an MWRD permit. Plus, because we are we're trying to work with the village with zoning and courts and band shells might require a special use permit, which requires going to the planning commission and more work. So we do have to make a decision on this first. So if the board can't make a decision based on the information we have tonight, I can get whatever more information you need to make a decision at the next board meeting. But we would probably have to make it, it's going to be February, by the next board meeting.
I don't know if this is working. How do I make this work?
Here, can you just pass that to him?
So first of all, I would propose we vote on the second part, not now, because I think we need to do a little more work on Sedgwick. My first question is it's where it's at today. It's being moved because the neighbors behind there are complaining about the noise from the basketball courts?
No, it's being moved to put like amenities by like amenities. So for example, if your child is playing volleyball and you have another child, they can go play basketball. Now if somebody's on the basketball or playing volleyball and your son wants to go play basketball, they have to go all the way across the park. So sometimes you try to keep those like amenities by each other, and it's to keep green space passive area open. So we're opening up this green passive space so we can do programming over here, and again, this would be green passive space. So when you start plugging in different just courts in random places within a park, you take away these passive green areas.
Yeah, because what I'm looking at, I feel like the area where we're considering looking at the new basketball court, that seems like a great area for a dog park because there's parking there, and that seems like a very good area for a dog park. Seems like where the existing basketball court that's coming down, if the neighbors there, that seems like that would be a good place to keep the basketball court and redo it there, and leave that section up there the same. So I'd like to see some more ideas from White on how we can move this around to take care of some of the concerns.
Well, if these residents are complaining, I'm sure these residents are going to complain. So I would, we would suggest putting it over here then.
Well, I mean, there is a basketball court there today.
Mm-hmm. But it's not being utilized right now. There's not a net there. We can do whatever the board wants. If the board wants to see a proposal over here, but again, I do want to be very clear that we need to approve something next board meeting. So that would be, we can get a recommendation for over here and over here. I can find out more information about why it's back so far and more details, and maybe even see if they can come to the next meeting. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
And with this park, we're in charge of these parking lots.
There are parking lots, yes.
So we could look at permeable pavers in these parking lots potentially as well.
I think we can. What we've seen in the past is those are
very expensive.
Very expensive. Yes.
So we've gone to MWRD many times for grants for that. And I think whenever we redo a parking lot, we could always ask for another grant, but at this point, we don't have that, right now, that capability.
Mm-hmm.
And Jenny.
Just asking the question.
No.
We
want it. We do want that.
I'm sure you guys have already asked them many times.
We've been trying for years to make that happen, in a fiscally responsible way, I'll say.
So the Grange had that great, 2 grants for that already?
The village has been successful in getting grants. For some reason, you're not as successful in State Park.
Jenny's been really good at those. So maybe
that doesn't work.
Jenny's good at that.
We'll try.
So Jenny, we have to make a decision. It's for all of the plans tonight in order to stay on this timeline that we agreed to at the last meeting. So I'm struggling right now because I understand there's a lot of moving parts and they all have to work together in order for us to meet our obligations to meet those spend down targets, which are a requirement of receiving the referendum bonds. It is not unlike a home construction contract when you're doing a gut rehab of your home, which thankfully I've never done, but I know people have done it, that we have to have everything moving together. So what I'm struggling with is I hear and see this large audience of citizens that have provided clear input on what they would like to see with respect to this plan. And the difficulty that I have is that, there are consequences both ways. If we keep it as is, then it has an impact as described very clearly by the people that have submitted comments and that are here in support of other people who have made comments. On the other hand, we also have feedback from our constituents who have said, we don't want to take trees down. I personally am not in favor of taking trees down. So it's not, we have to make compromises and find what's in the middle. And I wish that we had more time. I don't know that more time is gonna make, really gonna move the needle that much. So I don't know that I have a point other than I'm really struggling with this right now. I want to stay on target because not unlike when you're renovating an entire home, sometimes you have to let things go in order to keep within budget and stay on time. So it's not a perfect solution. I don't know.
There'll be a time for public comments at the end. Thank you.
Do we know what the cost is for that retaining wall? Do you have any idea what that is?
I don't have costs again. The turnaround to get this, was, but again, this is also going to require a, special use permit because we are relocating the basketball court. So the other option is take the basketball court out completely.
I can't believe it.
I'm gonna go, thanks.
Where it is.
So here's my, if we have to take out, 5 trees to put it over there, I might not be so in favor of it. But if they can prove to me also that none of those arbor vitae will be removed, or those other 4 trees, I would like to see that.
Is that in your notes here? Or we can connect which ones you don't want removed?
Well, I think all the arbor vitae will have to come out if they put it there.
Okay.
It just seems too tight. Like if their picture is accurate, it's on top of the arbor vitae and on the right up to those trees. So I think they're gonna have to remove those trees anyway. And I know if they have to give up 30 feet and take down those huge trees, that's a problem. That's problematic for me. But it seems a little aggressive to have that much space taken and need to take those trees down, in my opinion. I could be wrong.
Yeah, they're going off of village requirements, MWRD requirements. They're looking at everything. So, but those are some of the questions that I can come back with.
So I would.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'd like to propose that we approve it in its entirety, and upon finding out more information on the location and the requirements and how many trees will be removed in each area, we could just pass that when
the basketball court
on the basketball court in Sedgwick in those 2 locations.
What 2 locations?
Yeah, the volleyball area and then the northeast corner next to the parking lot.
Okay.
What about keeping where it is?
There'll be a time for public comments at the end. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I agree. I mean, I could vote for all of this to be approved without not including Sedgwick. And I know it's on part of Part B. And we have those other.
Well, we would need to approve it
park.
with just the exception of the basketball court because we need to start the construction development plans.
Okay. I could do that, but I would like to see what it looks like by staying where it's at today. Like meaning not today as in this plan, but where the basketball courts are at item 6.
That'll be the.
So I'd like to
that's
see
the two, wouldn't it?
6 and then by the parking lot in the northeast corner. So I'd like to see.
Okay.
So, let me ask one more question.
Sure.
With respect to the basketball court, so it's not currently being used.
Well,
And hold on, and it hasn't been for a while, right? There's I look at these parks as like rooms in a house. Some rooms you have lots of TVs, other rooms you don't. Like, is the community asking for a basketball court at that location? Or are they asking for basketball courts? Because as I look through the plans, there are other places, we're not eliminating basketball courts. There's other places in the area to play basketball.
And there's also basketball courts at the school.
Well, but
At 7th Avenue School. There's
but that's
basketball
not-
courts there.
I feel like the question is, are we responding to the needs of the community? We're not eliminating basketball. Like, I'm trying to find a solution
Yeah, so
that meets the needs of as
on
many
the
people as possible.
survey that we did, multi-sport basketball and tennis courts on the Likert scale, 4+5, were number 1. So
That includes pickleball.
Yeah, well, it is a multi-purpose court too, so
Mhm.
they have the futsal and other capabilities.
That's all. Okay.
yeah, so it was a high, one of the higher requests of the community.
So I want to make a comment here. Growing up in this community where I did not have the privilege to have a basketball hoop at home, I walked to my local park. I walked there to play. And by going to that park and practicing on a public hoop, I was able to play junior high basketball. And so if we sit here and say that, oh, we're just going to eliminate that completely and make people walk to Gilbert Park, we are actually removing an amenity for some families that may not have the money to pay for a gorilla rim that costs $1,500. So that's my concern.
But if
And traditionally in this village, I've been coming to these meetings for 10 years, there is some kind of sentiment in this village that we don't like basketball. And I don't know what that is, but whatever park it is, we don't like basketball. But what I see is kids in the community that are passionate about this sport. So I ask our community and our board to think, who's playing basketball? And it's probably not the people sitting at these tables. It's the 7th graders, the 6th graders, the 8th graders. Those are the kids playing. So when I make my decision, I'm going to think about those kids that are playing and maybe didn't have a hoop. So I just want to say that.
And I do go along and I see all hands and clapping about for the basketball course and everything, but I have lived in the Grange 77 years. I have seen some superstars come out of basketball. Early in the morning, 5 o'clock when the sun breaks, we have people out there playing. We're not, I'm gonna check you out. We're not in the baby making business, but our kids are. And you know, having the kids come over and being able to go out and you can look out the window and see that your grandkids are doing all right, or the neighbor kids are all right. So I think we should investigate that and see what we come up with. And what is the park for? Basketball, really. We just started with soccer and everything else. But you build your muscles up and everything with basketball. Not so much soccer, because soccer is a brand new thing to me. That's handball, soccer, whatever. But all that stuff, pickleball, all that stuff we have to look into and look at the future. And we're leaving out, and we got people coming in. And we're going to leave the Grange as well as we found it.
All right, so Sedgwick, we're going to approve with the exception of the basketball court.
Multi-purpose court.
Correct. Thank you for the correction. All right, we still have one more park, the Spring Park. And this one also, remember, Sedgwick is some facility improvements as well. Again, it needs a roof, energy improvements, fire-rated door, some plumbing. It'll be good all the way around. Spring Park, really not much is changing. We are opening up some more passive green space over here. There is a playground there. We're condensing it all into one and expanding that pathway and then replacing the shelter. So, and the chain link fence will remain because I know that was one of the concerns with residents wanting that fence to stay, especially with the school right there. Any concerns here? We have no recommended changes.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so we need a motion. We need a motion to approve the schedule as presented, which do you want me to put the schedule back up? Are we good? You have it in your board packets, actually. So the schedule, Group A and Group B. Yes?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And then we have all the site plans to be approved as presented with Sedgwick Park multi-sport court to be explored further, the location, and the dog park to also be explored further at Gordon Park for a potential different location.
So moved.
Wait, do we also have to include my suggestion with respect to the barrier? No.
We'll add it in.
Okay. Then I second that motion.
Okay. And the bocce courts.
And the bocce courts.
Okay.
At Gilbert. Perfect. Okay. Commissioner Veer.
Yes.
Commissioner Posey.
Yes.
Commissioner Weber.
Yes.
Commissioner Lacey.
Yes.
President Opit.
Yes.
Perfect.
All right, I don't think we have any old business or new business on the agenda this evening. Let's move to committee reports. Any update from the administrative committee?
No.
I don't believe we have anything from Parks and Facilities this evening.
Nope.
Anything from the Recreation and Cultural Programming Committee?
No.
All right. All right, thank you. So let's move to 10.0. This is the second opportunity for public comments tonight, so again, I'm happy to hand over the mic. And we'll follow the same rules. So I'll open it for 3 minutes each. Again, please state your name and address if you don't mind.
I'm Jean O'Brien at 701 11th Avenue, and I do not wish to impede upon anyone's access to anything. However, I wonder if the feasibility of moving the multi-sport court in Sedgwick is financially and environmentally responsible. And I appreciate the good conversation that the board had about it. That's all I got.
Thank you.
My name's Brian Suchin. I live at 730 East Avenue. Could I ask, could you pull the picture of Sedgwick Park back up really quick for me?
Sure.
My main question is, with this soccer field, do we really need a soccer field that big? And if not, what about making two, like one come this way and up, then bring the multi-purpose over there to where you can still have room for the dog park under the trees and still have the multi-purpose by the northeast parking lot. And then whatever else, like little picnic bench between one soccer field and the basketball courts. That's all I got.
Okay, thank you for your feedback.
So, Daniel Guerra, 701 12th Avenue. right? We made the comments about pickleball courts, 4 courts, what was it, 4 people playing at a time, so call it 16 extra cars. And the comment, I don't know that commissioner's name over there, that young lady, but again, underutilized parking lot with 16 additional cars. I don't think we'll have much of an impact on a lot that probably has 50 or 75 spots, I'm not sure. That's kind of what I wanted to go on with that. And I had one more quick note. The reference was made to putting like amenities next to each other. But I'm thinking some of the rationale is also health. So if somebody has to walk 50 feet versus 5 feet, I'm hoping the health aspect of I'm being healthy walking 50 feet extra versus having to walk 5 feet. But that's just me, right? They are going to a park. The idea is you don't always necessarily park directly next to the amenity you're going to use. You're going to potentially have to walk to it or get to it, and you may not be within 5 feet of it. So
It's more for children. If people have children, multiple children, they're not spread out.
Sure, but like on a sand volleyball court with nets that are this high, they're not going to be little children, right? They're going to be big children that don't need to be close to, and then the basketball court as well will be a standard, I don't know what, 10-foot rims. Again, big children, not little children. So I hope that wouldn't weigh into any decision making of, right, the reference is almost like it's little children and it won't be for either amenity. That's all.
I think originally, as far as positioning the basketball court where it was, is because it was opposite the playground and the building. So preschoolers, whatever, were in the playground or coming out of the building. Parents can be shooting baskets or whatever, or their young or their older kids, 6th, 7th, 8th graders would be playing basketball. So I think it is in proximity to activities for the age groups. So you could have your grammar school kids on the basketball court and your younger children in the playground or in the preschoolers in the building. So that's it's really dense in that corner, in that southeast corner. I mean, it's just really dense. And then as far as keeping the basketball court where it is, okay, so there's the rationale there. If you moved it, wouldn't you be able to make that open space where the existing basketball courts are in the dog park? I think that spot just south of it, up until the outfield, there's a lot of dogs that get run there in that space anyway. So you would just be making that field bigger in a designated dog park. Dog park's not on the list, so I didn't even know that was an option. I appreciate not cutting down trees, but then you'd have the dog park over by the busy road. So it already exists because they're allowed to be walked there. If they run, they're in the field at 6 and beyond to the south. So if you do move it, that's where the dog park is. If you don't, the dog park's still there, whether it's official or not. So, if it's becoming very expensive to move it, don't move it. And there's a retaining wall for the tennis courts right now down to the parking lot because of the great change in the elevation. So it would just be another step down, another tiers to have a retaining wall for the basketball court. And I don't find that. I know it's expensive, but that shouldn't be a deal breaker either. But if it is too expensive, then keep the site where they are, the basketball courts where they are. But it should not go in the southeast corner. It's just too dense. No parking. That parking lot there is much smaller than the one off 47. So you've got in four groups there. Out back, middle, little league, volleyball, and now that there's curb parking and that one small parking lot, so it's too dense.
I just have one quick question. The basketball court where it is now, why did you take the net down? I mean, could people, I walk the path all the time and I see kids doing basketball there at the court. I don't understand, and I'm with him. I think we should just leave it there and try to accommodate the neighbors somehow to make them happy. And all this money, I just don't understand. And can you ask me why there's no net on the rim or?
I actually don't know. The rim's been down for quite some time. We just haven't replaced it. The concrete is not in good shape. So, yeah, it's been unused for quite some time.
It's
Well,
used,
no,
it's just
they've
not
been playing
maintained.
basketball over
Right.
the summer.
Yeah, I would say, it's used.
It's used, yeah.
Even in the dilapidated state it's in, it's used.
Okay.
Which is shocking.
Yeah.
Because it's almost as bad as the tennis courts were a year and a half ago with like a 6-inch crack through the middle of them and stuff.
Right.
But it's still,
Right.
it is honestly still used.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Rose Nassif, 911 Southstone. I appreciate the challenge of this decision. Thank you for the good conversation. I don't live near the park, so I don't have a big side and where it goes, except for the trees. I think you can't compare an arborvitae with a mature, 50, 100-year-old tree. I pick the mature tree any day over the arborvitae. That's just my 2 cents. Okay. I kind of feel that if you keep it where it is, there's neighbors. My God, I don't know, is that the neighbors don't like it. It's a little bit closer to where they are than where it would be closer to the neighbors now. It seems like it's a little closer to the backyard. If you keep it, I have the feeling that all those neighbors will come out to you and kind of say the same thing. That's just my, I think they're in a really hard spot here with that decision per se. I don't know that it's really keeping things together. I think there were complaints before too. So, I think that's a hard decision. So either place, those keeping it where it's at or putting it where it is now would be my preference, obviously, over in the retaining wall, the extra cost and the trees. So I don't like moving it there. The dog park, I don't know I guess people walk their dogs there now. I don't know how many, it's not in a neighborhood, like you're saying, there are a lot of people walking their dogs. Sedgwick seems like a logical place, but what I like about having it at Gordon is you have the trees there, which Gordon doesn't have a lot of trees, so you have the trees there and dogs can still go there. And if it doesn't work out, I suppose you can revisit, you haven't lost too much in the process. So, is it the best place for a dog park? I don't really know, but you do get to keep some of the trees, so that's a plus for me. The handball, Jenny, I don't like adding concrete. They're hot. And if you have trees, you're going to have shade. So I like trees. Just, it's kind of like longer term. It's going to take a while for the trees to get mature, but to me, that's the long-term solution. The transpiration from the trees is going to cool the whole area. So I would, even a shed for Christmas tree sale is just once a year. It's just not worth it to me. And permeable paper lots. I know you tried. I appreciate that. I think you have to keep trying. Maybe you can't do it now. Maybe there will be some little opportunity to get in there too. The lots you were trying were gravel, so it wasn't you weren't going to gain as much by putting a permeable paper lot over the gravel. If you put it over an asphalt lot, you might be more successful. So just keep trying. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
As far as the permeable pavers for the lots, you've tried and it keeps getting rejected or whatever, but pushing, in future, it just gets more expensive. So if it's an infrastructure investment, sooner is better than just bite the bullet, put it in with the bond and get it done when you're working on the parks because, we'll do it in 5 years. It's just gonna be more expensive. So you keep pushing it there. Just like on a house renovation. I should have done the kitchen 4 years ago when I didn't have money because it's twice as much now. I have enough to pay for what it would have been 4 years ago, but not what it is today. So it's just going to get more expensive.
Or OSLAD is a possibility, right?
For parking lots, no.
It's not? Oh,
Mm-mm.
I thought maybe it would
No.
be. Anyone else?
Yes, please.
Oh.
Thank you.
Brian Erickson, Sens 72511. I just wanted to say this really isn't about pro or con basketball at all to me. It's just pro congestion. And if we dumped one more thing at that south end of the park, it just makes an absolute death trap for the kids there. I think that's where a lot of this irritation is coming from. You know what I mean? It's like you can't trust your kids riding bikes there anymore. It's, you know, even if that construction is done, the minute a train goes through there, you have 8,000 people driving through there like a racetrack. So it's stressful enough for the residents. So adding something else there creates a lot of emotion. Like, I'm fired up talking about this because we have semis going down our streets in the same direction as little kids walking to grade school. You can't call the cops all day long. So something's got to change. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone?
Right, thank you for the comments this evening. Let's move on to board comments. Would like to start this evening?
Yeah, I'll go. Can I have the microphone?
Yeah.
First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out and sharing your comments. It's really important as we're making these decisions. I didn't realize all the traffic issues over there, and I think, we can't do that much from the Park District point of view, but certainly, Gene, if you send something to me, if it helps, I'll help endorse something like that. I know Countryside definitely blocked all the streets when East Avenue was being worked on down there, so if the village can do something like that, I'm happy to help support you guys with that. So, thank you.
So I joined the board, like 3 or 4 years ago? And we were at the beginning, the board was at the beginning of this process. I think Jenny had just joined the Park District as well. And this is a massive undertaking that staff for years have been working. And there's been so much thought and work from the staff level to the board level to the public level that makes me really happy to be in this town and really happy to be part of this process. And I see that there's a young man sitting in the back, and local government gets a bad rap these days. And this is exactly how it's supposed to work. We're supposed to get feedback from the people that we are working with. We all have the same goal, which is to make the town that we live in, the community that we live in, better and make improvements that are fiscally responsible, that meet the needs of as many people as possible. And so I just my family makes fun of me because I'm cheesy and corny, but I am so proud to be part of this process and to be a witness on top of that to what we are all accomplishing as a community. And so I hope the community is as proud of what's going on here as we are. And I'm just getting a little emotional about that, but it's important. It matters that you guys are here. It matters that the staff cares and works as hard as they do. It really matters that all of us who are volunteers spend as much time preparing and reviewing. And it's you can see how we kind of agonized about these decisions because we believe that it impacts the community that we also live and play in. So thanks to everyone.
Good evening, everyone. I am so excited to see so many people in the same area fighting for the same thing, and working together, we can make it happen. I have seen things happen that 2 or 3 people started off, and then so many people got involved, and what it is now, it is people working together. You just have to learn how to work together. get the ideas to the right people. You have some wonderful ideas today. Different places to put different spots, different football fields, the dog park and everything else. And that will happen. All you have to do is keep on working on it. Jen and the staff and the board is willing to do the same thing we want. We want LaGrange happy. We want LaGrange looking good. And working together, we can do it. And I'm going to throw a little something in, too. This year, we have election. In 2 years, we have election. I see some board members out there that come on and join in. And I do appreciate you coming out and speaking up and giving the board and the staff what they need. Thank you very much.
Like the other commissioners, I want to thank you all for being here. It's a great show of community and purpose in our second park. I want to congratulate Jenny and the staff and the rest of the board on getting another grant. I think that's a huge win. One that I have to admit I did not expect to get. And Kevin, the holiday train event, I want to congratulate you on making it much better than last year. Right, exactly. And that's all I have.
All right. Just a few things I wanted to share. I heard a lot about the traffic on 49th. I understand it's a concern. I actually live on the other side of that, on Cosset, and I too have seen the traffic backed up from the Grange Road all the way to East. And that is also a passage for my daughter who walks to school and my son who walks to school, so I understand you're passionate about that particular topic. Again, I don't know, Chris had mentioned is what we can personally do, but I'd be happy to sign on to any letters we want to write to IDOT, because for me personally, that's of importance, either on the other side of that. I also wanted to say it's not looking for sympathy, but I do want to say it's hard to be up here. It's good to hear your feedback. I really do honestly appreciate that. And unfortunately, John's not there. He must have snuck out on me. But I've had a lot of conversations with John and Rose about difficult topics, and I think they will attest to the fact that we do take this input, and it's sometimes very hard to make a decision right now because we're just learning things. But that stuff sits in the back of our heads. Me personally, it sits in the back of my head, and I think it helps formulate a decision that will hopefully be the best. I think the hardest part about sitting up here is it's about compromise and doing something that fits everybody, and whatever we decide, not everybody's going to be happy, but again, I think our job is to do and make the best decision for the entire community, and I'm trying to look through that lens as we make these tough decisions. But I want to thank you for coming. It really does mean a lot. So thank you for being here. And finally, just to end on a good note, again, thanks to the staff for the OSLAD grant. That's amazing. I'm happy that we got that done, and it's going to make the parks even better than they are. So thank you for doing that. With that, I do not believe we have executive session, so I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
I need a second.
I second.
Okay, Commissioner, all in favor?
Aye.
There we go.
Thank you.